Good morning again on this Sunday. Hope you're staying cool out there. 84 in Fair Park, feeling like 87. Blue sky overhead. Going to be another hot one in store for you today. Unfortunately, I think a little bit hotter than what we were dealing with yesterday. We tied a record high yesterday. I think we break a record high this afternoon because I was a degree or two warmer than what we were yesterday. Outside right now, already up into the 80s for most of you. If you're not in the 80s, you're in the upper 70s, but that's kind of the exception. Most of you in the 80s, a couple mid 80s already. Look at Granbury at 86, Stephenville, you're already up to 85. Decatur is close at 84. It is muggy out there. Check out the dew points. Remember, the dew point is the true measure of moisture in the air. Humidity really fluctuates, and it depends on the actual temperature outside. The dew point stays fairly constant. I mean, it can go up and down during the day, but it doesn't matter what the temperature is outside to determine what the dew point, or that's not how that's calculated. So it's a little bit better measure of how much moisture is in the air. And we got dew point 70 or above from DFW to the east, even a few places trying to jump up into the mid 70s for those dew points, especially across far eastern and southeastern North Texas. You got upper 60s out to the west. So the bottom line with that is the air's a little drier out to the west, pretty typical for North Texas. Air's a little muggier to the east. Once again, pretty typical for North Texas as well. So what does that mean? That means your heat index values later on today will be highest in the areas, or at least higher, is that even a phrase? They will be higher than the actual temperature, more so in the areas with that higher humidity, and that would be eastern North Texas. I'm going to show you that coming up in a second. So what does that mean? Well, those dew points, when you get them 70 or above, that certainly feels quite uncomfortable outside. When they get 75, 76 or above, I mean, that is just plain miserable. I know it's pretty gross out there right now, but it could be worse here in North Texas, and definitely has been. You know, those crisp, cool days that we can get during the winter, the fall, the spring, not so much during the summer. Your dew points are down into the 50s, and they haven't been that way in quite some time here in North Texas. So here you go. Your highs later on this afternoon, 100 or above for most of you, even potentially a few places trying to approach 110 out to the west later on today. That is not a joke. That is certainly possible out that way later on today. 103 in Dallas, 104 in Fort Worth. My DFW Airport, the official station that we monitor for all of our records. I'm going to go 104 later on today. That would break the record of 103 set back in 1953. But here's what I was talking about. When you factor in that humidity, remember it's higher in the east, lower in the west. Everybody kind of has a similar heat index value, but out to the west, the heat index is actually lower than the actual temperature. That just means the air's drier out that way. It doesn't mean that, if it's 109 in Breckenridge, it's going to really feel like 106. You really won't be able to tell the difference. It's just going to be plain hot anyway. But remember, eastern North Texas temperatures were a little lower, relatively speaking, 101, 102, some upper 90s kind of from Sherman, Bonham to Paris. But look, your heat index values well above the actual temperature because the moisture is higher in those locations. So when we talk about today, it really doesn't matter where you are. Either your actual temperature is going to be 105 to 110 or your heat index is going to be 105 to 110, and that's why we have that heat advisory in place through the remainder of the day today. 101 tomorrow, that'll be near record temperatures yet again, but then we take a bit of a dip toward the middle part of the week. It's not much, but at least it's something. Upper 90s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but then high pressure moves back overhead, and we get back into the triple digits on Friday and potentially into your Father's Day weekend as well.